Avast! Ahoy, me hearties! Welcome to WDBT Radio, the official after show of Dead and Buried Treasures, the award-winning Dead and Buried Treasures. This is the Pirate's Booty. I guess you could call it the post-game show. The Redbubble Phoenix Comics and Toys post-game show. I'm Erik Sprowls. I am the series creator, and I also play your host, Captain Calico Drake, on the show. And we just finished watching tonight's installment, tonight's movie, Terror Creatures from the Grave, starring one of my personal heartthrobs, Barbara Steele. And tonight we're going to try to get your questions right away. We want to try to condense this to a half-hour show. We might even try to go without any breaks if possible, so we'll get right into your questions. But before we do, we want to say that tonight's show is sponsored by Redbubble. For all your Dead and Buried Treasures merch, the official merch of Dead and Buried Treasures, go to redbubble.com. They have wonderful stuff. They have shower curtains, hoodies, laptop sleeves, iPhone cases, leggings, socks, you name it, they got it at redbubble.com. And tonight's show is also sponsored by the official fan club for Dead and Buried Treasures, brought to you by Phoenix Comics and Toys, where you can get a Captain Calico Drake decoder statue to play along during the show. You may see spots during the show where I reveal secret pirate codes, and if you can decode those codes, you will win pretty cool, horrific prizes on the show. So tonight's show, as always, is sponsored by redbubble.com and Phoenix Comics and Toys. So we thought we would switch it up this week. We seem to do a lot of phone calls, and for those of you who are trying to get in the queue, we appreciate it. If you want to leave messages, we're going to try to get to you, or maybe make it into a commercial for one of our viewer voicemails. But we thought we would switch it up this week because we've got some feedback that we never do any Facebook posts. We never get to our any instant messages or emails or anything like that. So we thought we would do that this week because we never ever get the chance. In fact, we have so many phone calls. We never, for the life of me, imagined that we would get this much response at, the wee hours in the morning. Sometimes this show airs at 3 o'clock in the morning, or sometimes it'll air late at night, and we get a lot of response on that. So that being said, we always take your phone calls. But tonight we thought we would mix it up, right? Yeah. I just want to make sure I'm doing this right? So we're not going to take any phone calls tonight, right? Okay. So we are just going to stick with a lot of Facebook messages and comments. So if you're online, or if you're in front of a computer, if you're on your cell phone, you can text messages to the phone number. Is that correct? Yeah, we're just not going to take any phone calls tonight. So please feel free to text that number. That's 412-691-3803. 412-691-3803. You can text there. But for the most part, we want to take your Facebook comments, your instant messages, comments we've gotten from Instagram, Twitter, you name it. So we do want to get to that tonight. So why don't we, do we want to get to our first message, right? Yeah, okay, we're going to, you can tell we've had a meeting on this. We were just kind of rushed. We want to try to get done in a half-hour format. So let's get right to tonight's questions regarding the show we've watched tonight. And it was a mythology show tonight. We unveiled a new character, Marabella, who is a mermaid from Captain Drake's past. And we revealed a little bit more on how we ended up in the 21st century. You have all these pirates that are just all of a sudden in the 21st century. And, we originally thought we were cursed. And it turns out, maybe not so much. Maybe it was a time-traveling accident. And we kind of revealed that it was through the Bermuda Triangle during a big battle called the Battle of Bermuda. And we weren't the only ones that ended up going through there. Or at least we don't know if we were the only people, individuals, whatever you want to call it, that time traveled to the 21st century. That apparently there was a battle with a lot of ships, and mermaids, other ships, us, were all sucked away into the Bermuda Triangle, and here we are. But it's the odd thing is the Bermuda Triangle has deposited us at different points in time throughout history. So, as we learned tonight, Marabella, who knew Captain Drake in the 17th century, was deposited in 1938, correct? That's what, yeah. You think I know because I write these, right? I just, you write so many scripts, they all blur together, but she was deposited in 1938. We were deposited, myself, Captain Calico Drake, that is, and the crew were deposited in the 21st century, but her lifespan lasts 300 years, so 80 years later, she bumps into me, and she looks relatively the same, but you can see how, what the setup has been. But we don't know what's caused it, we don't know anything behind it, we don't know who all has been transported to any parts of the timeline throughout the years. So we know that something has transported us, and we may not be the only ones. So we're going to unveil a little bit more behind that as we go. Okay, I'm getting to the questions now because I know we've already lost 5 minutes, so we're going to get into this now. Here we go. So the first question comes from Jerry Corson in Atlanta, Georgia. And the question is, were Calico Drake and Mirabella involved in a relationship before coming forward in time? And that comes from Jerry Corson in Atlanta, Georgia. Sorry, can I have some, give me some of that water. Thank you. This always happens when I start talking, right? I did it on the pre-show tonight, too. Were they involved in a relationship? They had some type of relationship that as of yet seems undefined. I can say that. We don't know if it alludes that there was some type of a personal relationship, whether it was a physical relationship of some type or if they were involved romantically, we don't know. But we just know that they have been friends in the past, and there is an allusion to that, and that's what I can tell you right there. But we will get to that as time goes on and as the series progresses. Hope that answers your question. Sorry, thank you for that question, Jerry. The next question comes from Richard Zimbalist from Augusta, Maine. I feel like I'm rushing through these now. Yeah, because we've already lost 10, almost 10 minutes, and I've got one question on the air. We're going to do this in half an hour. All right, I'm going to try to stampede through these, and I'll try to not waste a lot of time. Let's not take a break then, right? Okay, we're just going to try to get through these and see what happens. We have a lot of these. Richard Zimbalist from Augusta, Maine writes, "You have a real good sense of comedic timing." Oh, thank you. But what I love about the show is the mythology. You have a great balance of comedy and genuine suspense. What is tonight an episode... I'm not sure what this is. It says, "What is tonight an episode that breaks all the rules instead of pirate curse you time travel?" I think he's probably... he's either had a party and wrote this, or he was really drunk. No, I'm just kidding. It's hard to write. It says, "What is tonight an episode that breaks all the rules instead of a pirate curse you time travel?" Oh, instead of a pirate curse, you time travel. And it says we're breaking the rule. Yeah, the thought up to this point was the captain and Jack and Davy Bones and the whole crew were part of some curse that alluded to us having to host these monster movies. And it turns out that might not be the case, that it looks like we've time traveled by accident to the 21st century. So, yes, that is... you never know what we're going to do on the show. We're not saying that the curse wasn't part of that or there wasn't some type of curse, but we have revealed some new information that we have time traveled to the 21st century through the Bermuda Triangle in some way, shape, or form. So, yes, you are correct in that. Don't text us now if you want, 412-691-3803. You can also write us at deadandburiedtreasures@yahoo.com, or you can reach us on Facebook and I Am Us through Messenger. please feel free to do so. Here's another one we got from Amy Shelton from Homestead, Pennsylvania. That's just right down the road from us, near Pittsburgh. Thank you so much for an evening of fun. Your show is so witty. Thank you very much, Amy. That's really, we don't ever take that for granted, what people think. Thank you. It makes us laugh, it makes us think, and it makes us make more popcorn until we run out. Yeah, that's great. Maybe we should take some popcorn maker on as a sponsor, right? Thank you, Calico Drake. Now I have to... Thank you, Calico Drake. Now I have to go back to the store. I love it. So it says it makes you laugh, it makes you think, and it makes us make more popcorn till we run out. Thank you, Calico Drake. Now I have to go back to the store. Well, thank you, Amy. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. It sounds like you might be watching it with your family or some friends, and it is the perfect popcorn show. It really is. You know, movies, comedy, fun, and it's just lighthearted. And, you know, in these days and times, who couldn't use a show like that right now, you know? I had a friend of mine say to me, you know, why the pirates? Why the goofy old films? I'm like, you know, because the old films, because when you have a new generation of people who's never seen them, they're like brand new. It's just they're in black and white. And they don't always have to be scary. They just need people to get away for a couple hours from the latest on the COVID and the pandemic virus and the vaccinations, and get your mind off it for a couple of hours so you can just kind of get away and think about something else and have some fun. And Amy's hit it right on the noggin. Thank you so much for the kind words, Amy. This next one comes from, it's an email? Okay, this next one comes from Thomas Bigler from Morgantown, West Virginia. All right, Morgantown, West Virginia. That's right down the road, too. It says, your fan club is freaking awesome. Thank you very much. That's information I already knew. Yeah, even more than the Captain Decoder Drake statue, I love your newsletter. Oh, it gives us information that really is exclusive because I don't see it anywhere else on your Facebook pages or websites. So glad to be a member. Well, thank you, Thomas. I'm glad you brought that up tonight because we do put quite an effort into that newsletter. And for those of you who don't know, when you become a member of the Dead and Buried Treasures fan club, not only do you get the decoder statue of Captain Calico Drake to play some games and win prizes of a nice collectible, a very nice collectible. I know, you know what's funny? I know people that have never unboxed it. You know, they watch that on like the Big Bang Theory and the Star Wars fans. They never unbox anything. They think when they unbox it, it depreciates the value. Yeah, I was talking to Rob down in Phoenix Comics and Toys. And Rob down there is the shout out to Rob down at Phoenix Comics and Toys. Rob Fleck, how you doing tonight? Hope you're watching, you darn matey. You better be watching. Anyway, he was telling me that some people don't even unbox these things. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. Yeah. So they've got my statue. Well, I like this. They've never even taken it out of the box. He said that he knows one person that's ordered two, one to display and one to keep boxed. Yeah, and the Santa Drake, remember the Santa Drake statues from December? Yeah, you can't get those anymore now. You're going to have to wait till next year. Yeah, isn't that cool? They sold out. So that's pretty neat. And we're going to release new ones, by the way, for the 4th of July. The Captain Calico Drake, Uncle Sam decoder statue. It's red, white, and blue with like an Uncle Sam beard and top hat, fireworks. That's something we're going to do. We're going to do one every year. So in 2021, it's going to be the Uncle Sam one. 2020, it was the Santa Drake. And the original one back in 2019 was the decoder statue of me. But you're going to have to order these statues separately. Yeah, that's what they said. Rob says that he can't keep them in stock. I was pretty happy about that. And anyway, back to your compliment. Thank you, Thomas Bigler. We appreciate your kind words on that. The newsletter, we do put a lot of effort into that. And it features interviews, it features behind-the-scenes facts and pictorials and pictures we've taken and interviews, and there's a lot of things in there that you cannot get online, and you cannot get it, anywhere else. So that's one of the reasons that Your words were so kind. So thank you very much, Mr. Bigler. This next letter comes from Roberta McDonald from Clarion, Pennsylvania. That's interesting. I used to teach at Clarion University in Pennsylvania. That's really nice. And this was a Facebook. So, from Facebook. It says, just did a random Google search on you and discovered that you won the 2020 Community Media Award for having the best TV show produced in Pittsburgh. That is correct. We did. Thank you very much. You don't get enough hype on that. LOL. Congrats again. Well, worth it. Well, thank you very much. That was so kind of you, Roberta. Yes, last fall we did win the 2020 Community Media Award produced in Pittsburgh, given to us by the staff there. And the show went on to win that award, and as the best TV show at the entertainment level, that is, produced in Pittsburgh. Thank you so much, Roberta. It's nice to have a little recognition on that. This next question comes from Christina Payette. Is this right? From Juneau, Alaska? Wow, this is an email? An email. All right, so this one comes from Christina Payette from Juneau, Alaska. And I guess she's seen us on Facebook. Yeah, she doesn't say on here. Oh, she saw us on Facebook tonight. Yeah, okay. Did this just come? Well, it had to have. Yeah, okay. All right, so this says, this question is from Mirabella. Well, Mirabella's not here, but I will try to answer it the best I can. In fact, I'll pass it on to her. I used to be stationed in Hawaii. Being a fan of mermaids and swimming like one a few years ago, it's nice to see one added to the show. Yeah, it certainly is. Now, when she says stationed, I'm assuming she's military, right? Or at least a military brat of some type. Maybe just military, right? Forgive me, but I don't remember your name in the credits. Oh, that would have been for Mirabella. That would be Aline Isley. Mirabella, can you tell us once again about the effect you used and putting yourself on camera all by yourself? I watched the Walk the Plank show before Dead and Buried Treasures and was fascinated by your behind-the-scenes information. Very cool. Well, thank you very much, Christina. To answer her questions, it was a complicated procedure. She would shoot all of her stuff where she is. I was not there. I wrote the show, but I would talk to her over the phone how we wanted to direct it and how we wanted it done. But we talked, told her what I wanted, and then when she shot it, I wasn't even there. So she kind of was like the assistant director on this show in a way, like recording her own stuff. And then she would, we're trying to be cognizant of the pandemic. We don't want to break any social distancing protocol or rules or anything like that. So she shot all of her stuff by herself in her studio, wherever she lived in the Pittsburgh area. And I would then take it once she uploaded her stock footage to YouTube on her channel. I would download it onto my computer, transform it into a file that I could edit it with, insert it into my editing program, and voila. That's how we edited back and forth. And she did the effect with the tail. I gave her some direction of what it would be kind of cool to do, to have it kind of floating behind her. And thank God for green screens. Yeah, green screens fix and hide a lot. So that was one of the nice things about that. We had a green screen we could use, and it was layered. She'd be in the front. Behind her, there'd be a tail. Behind her, there'd be footage on the green screen of the sea. And that's how we ended up. It is a lot of work. And as any television producer can tell you, I mean, everybody does hard work on TV shows and whatnot. But when you're doing this regionally and you don't have a big budget or a big cast or a big crew to do so, it's kind of a pain when you're the host, the editor, the writer, and just like she's also the special effects artist and the actress, we all had to, she and I just made this kind of come together and put it out, and that's the way it turned out. So that was really difficult. I'm sure she will tell you on her behalf of doing this. And I'm not sure even Aileen realized what she was getting into. So, but I'm sure that she would say thank you very much. That's really nice for you to recognize her efforts. Thank you so much. This one comes from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and it says, "Where was the villain tonight? You had an amazing cliffhanger in the last show, or did I miss an episode?" And this one comes from David Spinner in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. No, you didn't miss anything. It's hard to say. Here's what happened. When we wrote the last episode, the Long John Silver episode with our new villain in it, I wrote the next 3 episodes. They all had Professor Gertie in them. And extremely busy during the pandemic because now you're homeschooling, and she has 4 kids to homeschool. And, now we have social distancing. Now we have the pandemic to deal with, and we just could not arrive on a time to shoot her material, or she couldn't find the time to shoot the material because of her requirements now that not only does she work, but she also has to be a teacher for 4 different levels of school. She has elementary, she has high school. So she's really, really busy. So when I wrote the episode with the villain, I had 3 episodes after that, and all of a sudden she can't do it. And I'm like, ugh. And, I kept putting off the TV stations and affiliates saying, well, I'll get to it, I promise, but I've got some difficulty in getting our schedules together. And so I couldn't wait anymore, and I had to write something. So I wrote a couple episodes, which involved the mermaid and the one next time, to kind of stall between the Long John Silver episode and the resolution of that episode. But I had to write 2 episodes to insert there because I just couldn't get on the same page with Gertie. So that's what we had to do. And you're looking at those 2 episodes now, and if you notice, Professor Gertie wasn't in tonight's episode until the very end. And what happened at the end was we eventually got Gertie, or rather Dana, some time to shoot, and we shot all of her stuff for the next 5 or 6 episodes in one afternoon. And then I put them all in different episodes, and I shot the stuff at the end of tonight's episode where she just kind of appears. She's like, oh, I went shopping and I did all this. I was on vacation. And we did all this, and we shot that a week ago. But to include her in the show, we edited in now, even though we shot it as an afterthought of not including her in this show because she wasn't supposed to be. So you didn't miss anything. You're right on track. But the villain will probably be around. Remember, he said he's observing the captain from afar to learn his weaknesses and strategies. So he is around. He's just not immediately showing himself. He's cunning, that devil. So that answers your question, I hope, David. This next question is from Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. How about that? I went on vacation there a couple years ago. I had the time of my life down there. This comes from Chuck Wheeler in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. We did a whole bunch of stuff down there. It was really, really cool. His question is, or his comment is, there is a pirate interactive water show down here for tourists that's a dinner theater. And I took in that when I went down there on vacation. That was awesome. Had a great time. I think Dolly Parton runs that as part of Dollywood or something, I think. But anyway, it says the guy who hosts it looks a lot like you, and even has the 3 guns on his chest. Is that you? And that comes from Chuck Wheeler in Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. No, that is not me. It is not me. But I can tell you that I loved that show, and I would love to do something with that down there. I'd love to do something, combine my efforts with them on the show. We still have about 5 or 6 minutes left in the show before we head out tonight. Let me get to some of these other comments because they're still rolling in. We just can't take them all. We're out of time, and we wanted to make this a 30-minute show tonight. So this next question comes from Baltimore, Maryland, from Brian Brooks. It says, I absolutely love the origin show you're talking about with Marabella tonight. Thank you very much, Brian. It sounds really intriguing. I love it. Mix it with time travel and you've got me hooked. Calico seemed to forgive Marabella very quickly, didn't he? Well, yes, he did. And maybe you might be seeing something there. Of course, Marabella, Aline Isley, is a very pretty woman. And, Calico, of course, is a pirate. So he forgave her, even though she tried to double-cross him. But hey, that's the way. Not all pirates are bad. Some of them have the heart of gold, I guess. I'm sure Calico was thinking with his head. Yes, of course, yes. Yes, she's very pretty. She's got very, very big brains, So I'm sure he's thinking that the whole way. And thank you very much, Brian. Again, tonight's show is sponsored by Redbubble.com, where you can get your official Dead and Buried Treasures merchandise, and of course Phoenix Comics and Toys with the fan club for Dead and Buried Treasures, the official fan club. And if you hurry, you can still get an email or a comment in the next 5 minutes. We're going to be wrapping this up. This next one comes from Arlia Sykes from Pittsburgh, or more specifically, it says Donaldson's Crossroads. So this is right down the road from us. Was this a text? Oh, this was a text. Okay. It says, is that movie tree that you use on the show real? Where did you get the idea for that? That's really a cool idea. You know what? Thank you, Arlia. We touched on this, I think, in the pre-show tonight before it aired. That Christmas tree is real. It's mine. I'm a big fan, and I collect a lot of things on movies, movie posters. I've worked on a lot of movies in my life that were made in the Pittsburgh area, from RoboCop and Night of the Living Dead's remake in my early days, way back when I was in college, to Striking Distance and Silence of the Lambs, and even The Dark Knight Rises and part of the Avengers when I lived in Cincinnati. I worked on a lot of these movies, so I collect a lot of these props and things like that over the years. And I have a movie tree. When Hallmark started releasing a tree with ornaments based on movie characters, I collected them. I put them on this big tree, and if you know me personally at Christmas time, that's what I am known for, is that movie tree. I love that. And I thought I got to get that into the show somehow, and I did. So I hope that quickly, I'm getting these as quick as I can because I know we only have a few minutes left. This next question comes from Alicia Nimoy in Ontario, Canada. Was this Facebook? Yeah, it was. Okay. It says, love your shirts and merch on Redbubble. When will I see something for Professor Gertie? We were in talks with Dana and also Phoenix Comics and Toys about doing something for Professor Gertie, and we even put a comment in the end of the show tonight when she has her cameo at the end. When am I going to get my face on a shirt? And I think it's high time. I think that's a great idea, and we should do that. I really do, don't you? Yeah, me too. I think it's great. But we're wondering what to do exactly. I wanted to do a bust of her, from like the waist up, a bust, no pun intended. But no, Dana would appreciate that because Dana knows, she's a smart woman. She knows what works and what doesn't. And she's certainly striking to look at too. So she knows what works. And we talked about that. But then Rob Fleck, who runs Phoenix Comics and Toys, says he wanted to do like a compass with her photo inside or something. And I don't know what we're going to do just yet, to be honest. So I agree with you, Alicia. I think it's high time, and we are having talks of it. Thank you again for tuning in to the Pirates Booty, the official after show, the post-game show of the award-winning Dead and Buried Treasures. I'm Erik Sprowls, and I want to thank you for your calls, your questions. As always, it's been a lot of fun, and keep them coming, because the best is yet to come. You won't believe what we have on the pike. Thanks again, everyone. Have a great night. We will see you for the next episode. Ahoy, me hearties, and good night.